Greetings, Trivialites. Here we are back again with episode 43. This we're going to be diving into brains. Title's going to be Brains Criteria.
Ooh.
So again, we're sticking with the March Madness bracket theme in this. We'll be going up. We're going to have 8 contenders.
Let's get it.
Narrowing them down. Our first here.
Oh, sorry.
We got Jade Dog, otherwise known as Jordan Halverson. We got a 1, 2, 3.
Hey yo, the one and only.
Maldonado.
The Baldy.
Maldy.
Not
All right.
going Baldy.
What's that
I
again?
said
Don't
not
you
going Baldy.
speak- Oh, I thought you said
Oh,
number one Baldy. I was
no.
like, no.
No, not going
That
Baldy.
is,
I mean, I've seen your luscious locks,
He's
dude.
a hairful human being.
I'm not afraid of you going Baldy.
Those locks.
They're beautiful.
Hey,
They're
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
hate already off the bat.
That was
Oh,
love.
wow. All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Best of luck to you.
Hey, oh,
Yeah, we can do
excellent.
that.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
We're going to be
It's a time
but then I always
for a
like to
break.
go like it is, like an Italian.
It's a TikTok trend.
So,
Yeah, just do it like that.
that's better than okay. Here we go, everyone. The 3 criteria is going to be plasticity. It's going to be the quality defined by us as being the quality of being easily shaped or molded.
Mm,
Beneficence, this is generous giving or the quality of being generous.
mm.
Malfeasance. We're dealing with brains, so we're like, let's use a couple of words that have 3 syllables.
My gosh.
Syllables.
So,
Malfeasance
Yes,
is
we
going to
are.
be wrongdoing.
This is not going to be easy.
So here we go.
and we selected these ourselves.
did.
We did this to ourselves.
Topics for
First one.
Yeah.
Brain fart versus brain washed. The brain fart's going to be argued by 1.
Hello?
Brainwashed by Jay.
That'll be me.
Wheezy.
Mm.
All right. Who'd like to go first?
That's very kind of you to ask. I will
Defer?
defer.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. Honestly, we're both coming off of a win, so that makes sense.
That's
so,
true.
I believe I had the strongest win. So, that makes sense to put
Whatever
the
makes
tougher
you feel
assignment
better.
on me.
Yeah.
It does make me a little bit feeling of the better. So let's talk about brain farts for a little bit. First of all, brain fart, funny word to say. It is fun to say brain fart. No matter where you are in the country, you can say words like, oh, I lost my train of thought, or, oh man, what was I doing in here? Or, oh, snap. All of those things have one thing in common, is when your brain takes a fart. And then all of a sudden, you're like, though, out of all of the confusion that you had within what you were experiencing, the one thing that you're not confused about is the fact that you just experienced what a brain fart is right there. And by the way, I wanted to put in that pause for dramatic effect to be able to say that's what a brain fart sounds like. Not what a brain fart smells like.
I hope we don't
dropping
get to
that in
smell
here.
one of
I
those.
like,
Yeah.
that. I like
Yeah.
the visual imagery of that, of the pause, the
Yeah.
delayed.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's,
Yeah.
very dramatic.
It was dramatic.
If it did have a
Absolutely.
smell, it would smell the same. We're all the same on the inside, pink and stinky.
Oh wow. That was a little off topic and
Okay.
hilarious.
There you go.
So yeah, I would.
Stinky pinky.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, man.
we gone. We're canceled now. So here it is. We've got a brain fart, which is an unfortunate happenstance. Really, is what it is. And what we're talking about is brainwashed. It can be used for either good or evil. You can say all men are created equal. That's great. That's still a form of brainwashing. You could also say this race is superior to that race. That's evil brainwashing. So it can be used for beneficence and malfeasance. So we've met both of those criteria. As far as plasticity, absolutely. The brain itself is plastic. It is able to be formed to whatever it's being subjected to. So especially as the mind is younger. So, and we can talk a little bit deeper about brainwashing, but I'll save that for later. But that's kind of the basics of how it can be used for good or evil.
Very nice.
Yes.
All right. I like that. I liked how you included that.
Mm.
Right now, I like the fact that you're saying it can be easily shaped and molded, can be used for either good or evil. Right. That's, you mentioned wrongdoing with malfeasance.
You have a good point by agreeing with me.
But
Juan, what do you got?
but we did talk about the gift ability as well too. Was that benevolence? I believe.
Beneficence.
Beneficence.
Yeah.
Beneficence.
One of the
So
B's.
one of the great things about a brain fart is that yes, it gives you an excuse to where like, hey, I forgot something. If you say I had a brain fart, people are automatically understanding that because everybody understands a brain fart. But I want to speak a little bit more to the beneficence of it is that if you notice the frequency of you experiencing brain farts more often, it can actually be a sign of something else that's happening within your brain, and it's a good sign for you to be able to go to the doctors to be able to get checked out. So while yes, brain farts are funny, they got a funny name, brain blip or whatever, you're driving on the highway, you all of a sudden you come back to it in your home kind of thing. It's also a good way of being able to, of your body telling you, hey, something's not quite right and we need to be able to get this checked out. So speaking to that right there, it is a great way of it being able to warn you, hey, something's happening, we need to get this checked out, and that way you can get the problem resolved. Brainwashing, on the other hand, it's a cause of man. Brain farts, on the other hand, are a cause of your brain telling you, hey.
Hey, Bobby. Hello?
Hello, Jordan. Did you order me a pizza, or is this your pizza?
Oh, that is for the studio. Yeah, is it? Did they not leave it on the table? Did they come knock on your door?
Yeah, they did, but I haven't touched it. It's good to go. So.
Oh,
if
thank
wanna
you.
go get it,
Yeah, we are recording right now, but if you don't mind, we'll come over there and grab it here in just a little bit.
Okay,
Right.
final points.
I would just say that he's exactly right. There is a malfeasance portion to this, and so it does check that box. But again, with brainwashing, you have malfeasance, you have beneficence, and you absolutely have plasticity.
All right. Like value. I like and value both points.
You're an honorable judge. That's why
I am an honorable judge.
you are.
I'm just gonna let
Back
you know right now, I'm
to
not gonna
last
kiss your butt.
episode of Philip Banks. I am an upstanding
You are.
citizen of this room.
I feel honored
doesn't
just to
go
be
outside
next
of
to
here.
you. Yeah, I feel honored
You
to be.
should.
Yeah,
You should.
I feel like I'm
Brush
better
it off
from being
a
right
little bit.
here.
All right,
Yeah.
that's enough out of you. Let's see. You were gonna lose because of that statement. Which one do you do? All right. No. So here's what I think with brainwashed in regards to exactly what we're looking for here, that it has the most value to do wrongdoing, as well as it can be easily shaped. That's what brainwashing does, is that you're able to shape the mind in a direction, a way that you want to, so it can be giving plus wrongdoing, otherwise known as thought control. Yes, we have brainwash.
That's fair.
Brainwash.
That's fair.
Well done.
I feel
Well
like
argued.
it's fair.
Well
I
Well
feel like it's
argued.
fair. Well agreed.
Yes,
Good job.
well debated.
Good job. Good job.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's too much pause over here. All right, we gotta ruffle the feathers.
All right, let's get it.
Let's go.
Slap each other. Let's get down to business.
It's gonna get physical.
Let's get
Whoa.
Wait, not that kind.
Oh,
Just to be clear.
Oh.
Get excited now.
Sorry.
Let me be clear.
All right, round two. Here we go.
that was my jam.
Brainwaves. This third one, Maldonado, and Brainstorm, Jordan Halverson.
Excellent.
All right, brainwaves. 2 minutes. What do you got?
Take it away. So first of all, I want to give a little bit of history of, or an example of what brainwaves are. There's 5 different types of brainwaves. There's gamma, there's beta alpha, there's theta, and delta. And each brainwave has a distinct purpose and helps us behave, think, and process. And I also said 5 brainwaves, but I had a brain fart. There's 4. So with no, I listed 5. That was another brain fart. Oh my gosh, this isn't going well. So
Ooh,
they
gotcha.
channel
2 points on that.
automatically. So the nice thing about brainwaves is that they're flexible in nature, to where they are. There's different types of brainwaves for different types of functions that your body is currently in. Whether it be sleep, whether it be studying. I don't know if you like to turn on some theta waves while you're studying. Turn on YouTube, put on your headphones, listen to some theta waves. It helps activate a certain portion of your brain, which helps you to be able to concentrate a little bit better, almost like an audio Adderall per se. So it's nice because you are able to apply these brainwaves to different functions that you're doing throughout your day. So you can have higher levels of alpha waves, for example, and it could cause too much daydreaming, or you could be in an over-relaxed state, or you can have an inability to focus. But if you go at lower levels, it can help you with your OCD, it can help you with anxiety symptoms, and it can help with higher stress levels as well too. So it basically, with alpha waves, if you're operating within an optimal range, which in this case right here is 8 hertz to 12 hertz, you're really helping to relax your body. So it's almost like an audio therapy per se. And
Nice.
you're able to take each of these waves and apply them within your life, headphones, and you can help enhance certain parts of your life that you're trying to work on right then and there.
All right.
Wow.
Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. Thanks. I learned a lot listening to that.
Mhm.
With Brainstorm, we have a method of creative problem solving,
Correct.
which I think is incredibly beneficent, if you ask me. It's very beneficial to society. In fact, it's been a documented method since 1953. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Interesting.
Actually, been
Did you just
it's-
make that up?
no, this is actual research.
It's been
done.
documented.
It's been documented.
See,
That it's
wonderful.
been documented.
Statistics
All right,
are
it's
made
good
up
to know.
70% of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You're exactly right, Juan. And I want to commend you on that. But I'll also say that you have to look at it for what it is. It's not always brilliant. So there is a malfeasant portion. There's a lot of bad ideas that are thrown out there, but there's a lot of good things that come from the end result. So you talk about plasticity. 2 is better than 1. 4 is better than 1. 3. This studio has 3. 3 is better than 1. We are brainstorming. We brainstormed to make these bracket ideas.
A thread of 3 strands.
It's not easily broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
all
That's
right,
correct.
all right.
So
I hear that.
when he talks about the brain waves, to me it sounds a little bit like you're brainwashing yourself. But when you look at the 4 rules
But
of
that would make sense. I mean, brainwashing won in the last round, so wouldn't it work that it's an applicable way to be able to apply it?
absolutely,
Yeah.
I would agree with you 100% on that. So we look at the 4 rules. We have a high quantity when you're doing brainstorming. You withhold criticism. Wild ideas are welcome, and you combine and improve those ideas. So everybody's a winner here. Everybody's a winner. Comes in, and we leave with a better product because we're better together than we are apart.
Okay, but you contradict yourself a little bit. So I'm going to dig into this next
Okay.
segment here of malfeasance, right? I didn't hear much of malfeasance about the brainwaves, as far as how they can be detrimental. Also, we talk about how great it is to be coupled together with other people and how wonderful this is. And you mentioned slightly a little bit how maybe it could be a poor idea. So expound on both of those regarding malfeasance.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, number one, you wouldn't be able to brainstorm without taking advantage of brain waves in the first place. When people say, oh, we're on the same wavelength, that means that we have a common issue that we're trying to be able to solve in the first place. We were on the same wavelength when it came to this bracket idea. And yes, it did enable us to be able to do a brainstorm. However, let's say, for example, we weren't being able to take advantage of our gamma waves. Well, we wouldn't be able to process the information that we were taking advantage of. There wouldn't be any type of cognition, learning, binding of senses. However, if I wanted to be able to, let's say, completely tear apart this program, then I would just go ahead and play higher levels of gamma waves at a higher frequency range above 100 hertz. And that would cause severe anxiety and stress. So these are able to be used in a weaponized version as well too, which can also be used in interrogation purposes to make people feel uncomfortable, to be able to make them feel more vulnerable and open up a little bit more.
I like that very much.
That's good.
All
Those
right.
are really great points. Absolutely.
Would you like to counter that?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to go back to brainstorming and revisit our criteria of malfeasance, beneficence. So we have the good that comes from it.
He did say he only wanted us to focus on 1 for this one, however.
I'm just reiterating.
Okay.
This is just for the good of the audience.
Gotcha,
But I did
gotcha.
not ask for the reiteration.
You did not, and
I
you
just
are an
took
honorable.
notes.
You are an honorable judge.
You
But
were
I
in the
just-
lead there for a little while.
Yes, I was.
Gosh.
But we just want to revisit that really great things can come from this.
No, we don't want to revisit it.
Okay, we won't revisit it.
Just kidding.
Well,
Go
we
ahead.
will.
We'll
Okay.
revisit it.
I'm getting mixed
Wrong
signals
door.
here. Okay, so
He's using some beta waves right now on you, by the way. Anxiety, inability to feel relaxed, high adrenaline levels, and stress.
he is. He
Plus
is.
3 points.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what I'll just get to is we're all working together, synergy. That's good things coming from there.
Right.
Not all things good go into it, but good things come out of it.
I like it. I like them both. Beautiful work, gentlemen. One, lost a couple of points. Saying there might have been 3 waves, 17 waves, 12. You didn't really know. You got it there at the end, though. And with your audio Adderall comment, I love just the play on words there. Brilliant work. You moved right back
That's
up
very
in there. Arguing with the judge. That was a little bit rough on your end there. Carry the 2. So
I wouldn't
I
argue
look
with
at
you
it-
if I didn't think you were big enough to take it.
oh my gosh. There you go again.
Oh man,
All right.
I better
Oh,
shut
So
up.
man.
here's,
It looks like you were
I'm looking at
daydreaming
here.
a little bit there, Jordan, which
because I'm looking at the
take those
thunder and the
alpha
lightning,
waves.
right?
Yeah.
This is a debate about the thunder and the lightning to me. I think you did both
Wow.
very well with this, and I'm seeing the waves come before the storm.
Mm.
Wow.
Waves
Mm.
move through the storm.
Uh-huh.
Without those, you might not have had that little brainstorm.
Mm.
I see it.
There you go. So
That's
in
it.
this one,
Let's hear it.
we're going brainstorm.
There it is.
What? Brain waves.
Oh,
Oh,
man!
you threw me for a loop.
Were you
I was getting
Because
all
you were
let up.
going towards.
Oh man, I just had a heart attack.
Well
Good to see
argued.
it.
Well
That
done,
was a
fellas.
lot of research went into that one.
Yeah.
Well done.
That was very good. A lot of research.
And I think you pulled that off in about 5 minutes.
We came to
Way
play.
to go.
Came to play.
Absolutely.
Okay, next round. What we have got here, remember the criteria that we're working with: plasticity, easily shaped or molded, beneficence, generous giving, malfeasance, wrongdoing. Generous giving, wrongdoing, can it be shaped or molded? Pinky in the brain, brain strain.
Mm.
Wani went first this last time. Brain strain is up by Jordan.
Yes. Yes.
Pinky
Okay.
will be fought with Juan.
Okay. I'll go ahead and go. Brain strain is actually can be used in several different ways.
Mm.
Brain strain is when you're really thinking hard on something and you're trying to work through a problem. And the brain strain pepper. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the brain strain pepper. It actually looks like a brain. It's extremely hot. It has a large placenta.
Nice.
It actually, the heat comes from the membrane that holds the seeds, not the seeds themselves. That's a misconception.
Yeah, insane in the
I
membrane.
like that.
Insane in the brain.
Yeah.
So a double on membrane inside the brain strain. Okay.
Indeed.
Follow
Indeed. Absolutely. So it's 1.2 million on the Scoville heat units scale.
Ooh.
And that's just below a Carolina Reaper. And that's where our malfeasance comes
Pretty
in.
hot.
The hottest in the world is Pepper X at 3.2 million SHU.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
gracious.
And a jalapeno, just for example, just to give you some relativity there, is 500 on the SHU scale. So that's kind of what we have. We've got a pepper can be used for really good flavor.
Yeah.
But if it's too concentrated, if it is not tamed, then it can be extremely painful, extremely dangerous. They don't call it pepper spray for nothing.
Yeah.
Pepper spray is used in malfeasance towards evil in a mace spray or a pepper spray, if you will. So as far as plasticity, you can use peppers in a plethora of uses.
Mm.
So there's all sorts of aspects to brain strain, just the pepper. And then we go outside of that and we look at brain strain as far as overworking your mind. So
Yeah.
that would be brain strain.
That was great. That was
Okay.
a lot of good points in there. A lot of
Thank
good points
you.
in there.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to rely so much on the nostalgia because I did that previously a couple weeks back of Pinky in the Brain. But I do want to be able to talk about basically the 3 points that we're trying to focus on right now. So number one, the flexibility of it. This was a Pinky in the Brain episodes occurred in the 1990s at Acme Labs. However, it has been brought back
I did
now,
not know
and
that.
it's now on Hulu as well too, with modern day representations and modern day problems as well too. So it's not just something that could be dated from back in the 90s, which is probably one of the best decades in my opinion when it comes to
Okay.
entertainment. But it could be the 80s or the 70s, could be the 2000s or the 2010s as well too. Who knows? Depending on what kind of viewer you are. So its flexibility in it being able to be perceived and enjoyed by multiple different generations really speaks to itself, because the underlying current of just dry humor is always able to be there while being able to fit in enough adult innuendos for adults to be able to enjoy as their kids are watching it as well too. Which, let's be honest, the best kid shows are the ones that are made for adults. So that right there is one. Also, we want to be able to talk about the historical brilliance that it brings of it being able to teach kids when it comes to scientifically minded people, including Merlin, H.G. Wells, Ivan Pavlov, Johannes Gutenberg. There's multiple different people that they hit on within their shows.
Oh, I thought you were just naming off names. Okay.
No.
All right.
Johannes Gutenberg, he was a German revolutionary, basically, when it came to the scientific era. But that's neither here nor there.
Very nice.
So,
Helpful information.
and
2 points.
the final point that I want to be able to hit was actually the detriment that this show could cause as well too, to where they did an experiment in which for them to take over the world was their main objective. We're going to take over the world.
Yes.
They wanted to be able to create a brain contraption to be able to program everybody to go to the bathroom at the same time during intermission of the Super Bowl, and everybody flushed their toilets at the same time, therefore causing enough scarcity in the water supply to where basically they would be the sole people that were in control of the water supply across the entire earth.
Brilliant. What a brilliant plan.
So, Pinky and the Brain covers all the bases, and Steven Spielberg has his hands in it as well too. Let's not forget about that. So those are my points.
He has a lot of great points. Animaniacs, which, again, like Inception, Pinky and the Brain was within Animaniacs.
Yeah.
Was so fantastic, and I really loved all that. I still think, though, I don't know if it quite fits the definition of malfeasance because the plans that they really cooked up weren't really that harmful.
Yeah.
I was too loud nice, that we're coming up with something that was just kind of silly. So I don't know if it really fits the definition of malfeasance, but really appreciate the show. I think it's fantastic. Would love to show it to my kids. But just the fact that I'd like to show it to my kids kind of takes, I think, the definition of malfeasance would not apply.
I would like to counter your point with a very quick point.
Sure.
So, fun fact: back in World War II, obviously, propaganda was really high, and everybody was very much pro for good reasons. Well, too, it was for an honorable reason. But we would go into that. So, one of the under projects during that war was people would give their dogs to the U.S. military to be able to be served as military dogs. Sounds like an extraordinarily unbelievable premise. But the fact of the matter is that it was something that actually took place. So the military adopted all of these dogs that were families' dogs. Now, granted, the dogs didn't turn out so well because they were all used to home, and they were not brutal animals by any means, and they were scared of bombs and shelling and all that jazz. What?
I hear you.
Yeah, exactly. So and so speaking to that right there, while it didn't work out, the premise of the fact of even the most outlandish idea can carry a grain of permanence within our history as not only a nation, but of humankind.
I think if you mention humankind
Last point.
enough,
There you go. All right.
that you can make a point that may feel
Humankind.
I use actual historical evidence to be able to disprove your point.
it was a historical story. I don't know if it was evidence for anything, but
I'm about to do myself a Google
Okay. So what was the evidence for? Was that
to disprove his point. That it sounds outlandish, but nothing is too outlandish.
I was just saying it wasn't too malfeasant to try to get everybody to flush at the same time during the Super
Outlandish.
Bowl.
Outlandishly malfeasant.
all right? There's one last. I'm curious about the plasticity here
Absolutely.
of the brain strain and how that placenta can be molded. Would you help me out with that, please?
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure to talk about the placenta.
Okay.
The placenta is
Shape or mold is what we're looking for. Sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. It is a huge placenta. So that gives you endless possibilities. With this particular pepper, a lot of peppers have smaller placentas. In the
Makes
larger
sense.
placenta with the membrane and the seeds, you've got a lot of opportunity there. Opportunity, plasticity, there you are.
That's interesting.
It is.
Smaller pepper, smaller placenta. Larger pepper, larger placenta.
Shaped like a brain.
Okay. And the wrongdoing with this is.
A lot of evil can be brought out of a pepper.
I would be
Okay.
saying you
Pepper
can rub it in
spray.
somebody's eyeballs.
All right.
That I can see that.
All right, guys. Here's what we got.
All right.
I don't know which way this one's
Argued
going.
really well.
I don't know which way this one's
All
going.
right. Let's see.
Pondering.
Yeah.
About 20 seconds total. I've come up with brain strain.
Okay.
I like brain strain.
Okay.
Pinky Brain did great. Just don't see the plasticity in it.
Of
Being
being the
shaped or molded.
multiple generations.
I see
It
that.
got
That was your
reworked.
argument. The multiple generations.
Arguing with the judge, I think that's -3.
This
Okay.
pepper stays the same throughout the entire thing. It is always this pepper.
Okay, I got
It
you.
can be
here.
used in different
So much
ways.
more wrongdoing because it is gonna. We'll argue, debate about it a little bit more, right? The generous giving of it. It's a plant. Come on, plasticity. He talked about the placenta. That's all you gotta say.
Placenta.
So it can be shaped and molded.
I do like a good placenta.
So number 4. Till we move into our top 4. Monkey brain.
Wait, who won that last one?
brains. Brain strength.
Dang it.
Brain strength got that. Yeah.
Well, fought.
Yeah.
It was
I
a
love
hard
your
fought
argument.
battle. Well fought.
Is
Yeah,
what it
absolutely.
is. Monkey brain and brains. Okay, who went first last time?
I
Jordan. Juan, you were up with monkey brain. Did you say excuse me to yourself or to your own
To the mic
self?
stand. I said, excuse, that's the kind of guy I am.
This guy here is talking to himself in third person. When we take a break from him listening to him and watching himself, we'll move on to Juan. Go right ahead, sir.
All right, so monkey brains. This is what it can bring to society. It's a food.
Very interesting.
Here's the
I
bad
like
part
to
about
start
it.
off with that. It's
It
good.
comes from a monkey.
One might not know
You
that.
put a little monkey inside this table.
Mhm.
You close the table around the monkey. It's got a hole big enough just for its head to pop out, but can't pop back in. The monkey's encaged. And you get a bunch of people with a hammer,
Right.
and they start beating the freaking crap out of this monkey head.
I was with you up until that point.
And then I'm not saying I would eat this. This is just the card that I got drew.
That's what happens.
And so it was initially talked about from the 1950s by a travel writer, and basically where she went to a meal in Macau near Hong Kong, where monkey brains were eating from a freshly killed monkey's skull. Now then, here's the plasticity of it.
So just real quick, you don't heat it up before you eat it. It's just like let's
You just-
take this thing.
You know what? I'm assuming that. So how it works
cold
is
turkey stuff.
yes. So
Take it right off.
kind of, sort of, except for you can pour it. Kind of. Have you ever had pho before? It's
you
an
call it?
Asian,
What'd you say it was
an
called?
Asian soup. Pho.
Oh,
PHO. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing where you can pour the boiling water and the boiling water cooks it with all the seasonings within it, and then you're able to eat it almost like a soup. But it's very fresh monkey. Like you just killed the monkey.
you know how they kill those things that like twitch and stuff afterwards a little bit.
Yeah.
Find anything about that? Is this still?
I mean,
the
they're
brain
not.
waves still moving around in there? That
That's more nerve endings a little bit. So we actually talked about or we didn't talk about it, but it hits to in previous episodes with the octopus, where if you pour soy sauce on the
Thank
dead
you for
octopus,
that reminder.
it makes the tentacles
Right,
wiggle
right,
because
right.
of the,
Yeah.
the reactions.
I
All right, my apologies. Go
No, no,
ahead.
it's
That was
all
just
good.
For my personal enjoyment.
So that's what it brings
We're
is
here
food. The obvious bad thing about it is that you're killing a live animal that's a highly intelligent animal right there around the table. And the plasticity of it is that it's been used not only as a dish, but also as a character motivator within Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. They ate monkey brains in that as well too. And it was to enforce the fact that that was the bad guy. He was the one that was eating the monkey brains, just because it is a very inhumane way to be able to kill an animal.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Brains.
yeah, so what I want to do, guys, is I want to look at this from the angle of a zombie, because that's what we're talking about. So let's step out of our humanity right now and look into ourselves as zombies, and let's look at the plasticity of the brain. The plasticity of the brain of a zombie is lost. So we're talking about the very definition of a zombie is a human that has lost the plasticity. It is actually encased into this animal-like form and has lost its plasticity. So our topic is plasticity, but they have lost their plasticity.
So are you arguing against yourself here?
No, I'm saying we can talk about plasticity, but I can be honest in the fact that it does not apply to a zombie, but it does apply to the brain, that the human brain that the zombie is eating. So that human brain still has plasticity, by definition.
All right.
Okay. Now, looking at it from a zombie perspective, now the beneficence is this thing is packed full of it's highly packed full of protein. It's easy to eat. Once you crack that shell off, I mean,
Yeah.
you're just plugging away at this. There's no bones in there. There's no skin. You're just grabbing the brain. Go on to the next one.
Like a bunch of Vienna sausages.
That's exactly right. Thank you very much. And you know what they're doing there is they're going after what they have lost, what they no longer have, a soul and a consciousness. That's what they're going after. And instead, they're only getting high protein that continues the feasting, which leads me to the malfeasance of the life of a zombie. It is malfeasance. It's absolute destruction to the human race. And as these zombies kill more and more humans, it creates more and more zombies, therefore increasing exponentially the malfeasance.
Okay.
Interesting.
Fair point. Bash his idea. Bash his idea. Go.
Okay.
I don't think the soul lies within the brain. for one, so I don't think that they're actually looking for soul. They're just doing what the last bit of programming is within them to do. So the malfeasance isn't necessarily there because they're not intentionally trying to destroy the world. They themselves are trying to survive. And who are we to deny the zombie the right to be able to live?
Wow. That he really flipped that on its head. And I'll just show you this
Very
point.
interesting.
We have to look at it now, step back into your human skin and look at your families, look at your children. The malfeasance caused by zombies. This is very much malfeasance for the human race.
Said bash his idea.
I'm fighting his argument
No.
against my idea. You want me to bash his idea? We can go back to that. I thought he did a pretty good job.
Can't
about
bash my
himself.
idea. The whole
No,
premise is the fact is that you're already bashing a monkey. Why do we need to bash two things?
He has a good point.
That is a good point. Let's not make it 3.
Let's not make it
continue with your thread.
Absolutely, I will. What I'm saying is zombies eating humans is malfeasance. By definition, they're eating people, living people. That's something we should care about. That is the definition of malfeasance, is harm to other humans.
So a zombie is worse than a hungry lion trying to feed its family in the savannah.
I would say that definitely a hungry zombie is definitely worse than a hungry lion. One is natural, one is completely unnatural.
All right, I think I've got what I need over
Same
here.
page,
So,
same level.
gentlemen,
Agree to disagree.
We brought
Well
this upon
done.
ourselves. I'm just saying.
well done.
Maybe we didn't.
Somebody just ate a really bad hamburger.
Yes. Or Putin.
I also don't know where this one's going either.
Yeah, I thought it was great. When looking back on this, on wrongdoing, malfeasance, beneficence, and then you got your plasticity here. I'm not finding the beneficence in the brains. Didn't know if I heard that
You have to look at it from the zombie's perspective.
right, but when looking at that, you're looking outside of what it actually is. And seeing that, in order for him to have beneficence, he's actually having to look into another brain to get it, if I heard your point correctly. So it's not necessarily something about saying that the zombie is beneficence itself. What is the quality of being generous and good in the zombie? That's where
He's being beneficent to himself.
So,
To himself.
to himself.
Uh-huh.
Says the man that talks to himself in third person.
Excuse me.
All right, monkey brain moves on.
I was
Here
not
we go.
expecting that.
Here we
Let's
go.
go.
Here we go. Okay.
Good job. Good job.
Brainwash, brainwaves, brain strain, monkey brain.
I think we've still got 2 of each on there. We do. We went 2
Wow.
and 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Very nice.
Is that how it worked out with?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna take a break real quick, and we'll come back with the second half of our bracket. Stay tuned. Round 2. Brainwashed and brain waves. Brain waves. Jordan, you will continue on with this one. Brainwashed. Actually,
Yeah.
you'll be continuing on with this one.
Yeah.
I'm getting that confused with the brain waves and thinking there was 10, 2, and 6.
We call that a brain fart.
Will be 1.
We do.
Thank you very much. sir.
Indeed.
Okay. And Jordan, go ahead and start off.
So we're going back into brainwashed, and we're talking about how this, a point that you, as the judge, noticed, we could have malfeasance from this, very clear malfeasance with brainwashing that could say, this race is better than that race. Or you could say all men are created equal, or I have a dream. That's something that you can teach people, put into their heads, and it's extremely powerful and beneficent. So I think that's wonderful. It's extremely, extremely plastic, if you will. I know we're using the word plasticity, but because you can use persuasion, you can use education, you can use compliance. There's all sorts of ways techniques, if you will, that you can implement brainwashing.
Okay.
So it's not just one aspect.
All right.
Yeah, so I want to, because obviously this Brainwaves was a winner because we're here now. So I'm not going to focus so much on the greatness of Brainwaves itself because there would be too much to be able to go on. I'm going to speak more to the fact of we wouldn't be able to have brainwashing without the use of brainwaves in and of itself.
Ooh, so tackling on back what we
It
got you the V. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So with brainwaves, there's so much science. There's been so much funding into the science community of being able to analyze and be able to see how do brainwaves necessarily affect our state of thinking, whether it be propaganda, whether it be what we were talking about with brainwashing. to be able to take advantage of the brainwaves of somebody within and of themselves allows you the ability to be able to determine what kind of thought process they're going to be able to have. So in order to be able to effectively brainwash, you need to be able to be effectively trained in the examination of brainwaves within and of itself. So without brainwaves, you don't have brainwashing. I do believe brainwashing is a great topic, but when it's compared to brainwaves, I don't think it holds a flag.
No, I think he makes a really interesting point, and I really enjoyed hearing him speak tonight. But I guess what I would
too.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah, I learned a lot. But what we're trying to do with his point is we're trying to discount brainwashing and what it is. Those things can be different, and one be just as important or more important. So what we're saying is brainwashing is extremely capable and open to being malfeasant and beneficent, and it's very plastic. So we're hitting those three criteria, and instead of just trying to discount it by saying, well, you need brainwaves to be brainwashed. Well, okay, yeah, yes, true. That's a true point. But you also need a human to drive a car. Does that mean that the car goes away or it's not important? No. The human and the car are important, and they're both important to the idea of a human driving a car. So I think we're just approaching the argument.
I believe that the human is more important than the car. I place more
like
importance
that
on the
you point
human.
that up there. That's a very important note in your long-winded statement there. I value your
Listen,
political
if we never had the
capability
chicken,
here.
we would never have the
Sharing your
egg.
point.
Do you like breakfast tacos?
I love breakfast tacos.
You're welcome, chickens. Thank you, chickens.
I see where
Thank
you're
you,
going. I
brainwaves,
see what's going.
for being able
Yeah.
to allow us
Talking
to have
about
brainwashing.
the carriage before the horse.
Right.
The human before the car.
Yeah, it's an argument that doesn't work, but it continues to be pushed
It
forward.
works in the fact that every single
Very
aspect
nice.
that was listed, that you had listed, in and of itself is created from brainwaves within and of itself.
Yeah.
So to be able to create depression and ADHD and learning issues within someone with lower brain waves of gamma waves, for example, because they're playing or at a frequency range lower than 40 hertz, that's a way to be able to take advantage of somebody. But so much goodness can be able to come out of it as well. And brainwaves can apply to literally every single situation that we've talked about so far.
I think we're just learning more and more about brainwaves, and I love it. It's really interesting.
It's really interesting.
And so I'm enjoying that part. But as far as the argument against brainwashing, I'm not hearing anything new.
Okay, gotcha. I really like the fact that you divided up the brainwaves a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about their generous giving and how they can be wrongdoing, right? I mean, if you can use them for the good, just like you can with brainwash, in the way that it can be good or bad, and can be shaped and molded. This is a very challenging one right here. I like it, but I think what it does is puts the human in the car. I gotta say that it goes with the brain waves. There is no brainwashed. And so in using that as the tiebreaker and saying that I very much appreciate both your arguments and being able to point out malfeasance, beneficence, plasticity, because I can see that both of them can be good or bad, and they can be shaped and molded. Very interesting.
Which way is this
Difficult
gonna go?
say.
I don't think brainwashing can be good. If you're brainwashing somebody, you're taking away their ability to be able to
Thought we
either
were done
make a
with
good
debate.
decision or make a bad decision on their own.
Oh,
You're taking
I
the choice
stand
away from somebody.
Corrected. Well done. Yes.
Did he just continue debating as you were giving your decision?
Well, I'm the judge, and it's kind of the way that it works over here, and that was a heck of a point at the end. Do you have something that's going to
Ladies
be
and
rebuttal to
Jordan's
that?
Do you have
fists
something to
are
me?
like clenching up right now.
I have-
He's like that. You're breaking the rules.
I'm
You're
a
breaking
rule
the rules.
guy.
But that's the funny thing is there's not really any rules in this right here.
What I'm saying is we touched on malfeasance, we touched on beneficence, and we touched on plasticity. He's talking a lot about brainwaves, but we're not really saying how those are any better than brainwashing or any different from brainwashing. They're just different. So don't get lost in the argument.
Wonderful point. So I liked both of those at the end. Don't get lost in the what?
Don't get lost in the argument. You can find your way out.
Are you just taking a shot at me?
No,
He's
I
wanting
love
you to
you.
get lost
Okay,
in his
appreciate
eyes and base his opinion off of his looks
Got
instead
it.
of his qualities.
Yes. And what I'm seeing here is that how you mentioned the waves and how they can be
It didn't make a lot of sense towards the end, did it?
wow, manipulation. Dare
Brainwashing.
you? He is.
No
Now,
good
Malfeasance
can
happening
no
right
good
now.
can come out of
Put the
brainwashing.
cement on that. Well, yeah, brainwashing is generally looked at as a negative connotation.
Solely.
All men are created equal? I don't think so, sir.
I think. Wait, what?
All men are created equal. That's used in a very positive way.
I don't know.
No.
Brainwave. Moving on to the next round.
Let's go.
Oh,
Well done,
geez.
sir.
Oh.
Well done.
I was fighting hard for that one.
That one took a lot out of me.
That was tough. I was
Okay.
going back and forth too. I had to do my own talking myself over here.
I
for a minute.
saw that.
All right. You saw
I heard it.
And felt it.
I didn't feel it, but I hope I don't.
Might have a brain fart.
Oh, dear.
We're proving more and more what brain fart
Just
put them
blew a
on.
hole in this
We
chair.
are.
All right. Brain strain
That's my
and monkey brain.
Oh, boy.
Ooh,
Who went first last time?
I did.
Yeah, here. All right. Jordan.
Yes.
Got brain strain.
A brain strain. We talked about a brain strain overworking your mind when you're really thinking about something, but then we talked about the pepper.
Yeah.
And we talked about the pepper because it has so many different uses, so many different applications. It has the malfeasance portion, where it can really burn, it can really sting. It has the beneficence, where it has the amazing flavor and can add to any food. And so there's so many good things and so many bad things. It depends on who's using it and how they're using it.
Okay.
So that would be my brain strain compared to our criteria there.
So, the malfeasance of monkey brain, once again, is it's obvious here, is that it's incredibly inhumane, and I don't believe that any animal should have to die like that. With that being said, the nutrition that a brain does give, as forementioned in Jordan's point when it came to brains, is that it has an incredibly high content of proteins, amino acids, healthy sugars, healthy fats that your body needs to be able to survive. So I think the biggest point that I would have to try and impress forward with you is the plasticity of it. And I explained that a little bit when it came to its depictions within entertainment and its obvious culinary exoticness, I guess, if that's the correct word to be able to use. But really, in this case right here, it's fun being able to work within the limit, is that it's a single action that we are trying to be able to stretch out into something else. And with that right there, my argument is basically, how can something that's so divisive among people, among Peter would obviously hate this, but it can be so accepted within certain cultural sects of our world, basically. So something that's so divisive and something that's so enjoyed, that's an obvious example of its plasticity within humankind. So I would just go ahead and leave it at that right there.
Wow. I want to commend him for malfeasance and beneficence and how he argued those. And I would just point out that we have those same aspects for brain strain pepper. We have the malfeasance, which is, the pepper spray really be detrimental to the eyes. We have the beneficence with the flavor and what that can do to complement food and add to it. And then we have the plasticity. We have the applications and how flexible the pepper is in all the aspects and applications it can be used in. But we lack plasticity when we talk about a monkey brain. We've got 2 out of 3. We're almost there. And I commend him on that. And he drew that. And that's okay. That's okay, but we have to move forward with what actually fits the criteria.
I would say if you got some monkey brain, grind it up inside a blender, put in some gelatin, you can make that into any mold you want it to be.
Whoa!
Nobody's going to eat that.
You
That's
want
a fun statement, but it's not.
You want
really
some car-shaped
applicable.
monkey brain? Boom, gelatin, monkey brain, bam.
Again.
Smoothie? Monkey brain smoothie?
Blend it up in a blender.
Okay, I was a little bit torn on plasticity of it, but now you're starting to get me. I didn't go with your first argument on how it can be shaped from culture to culture, because that's not really the molding and the shaping of.
But nobody's going to have a monkey brain smoothie. You have to, the plasticity.
Is anybody really going to want something that's over 2 million on the Scoville smoothie, though?
Oh, no, absolutely. This is only 1.2. This is very tame.
True,
You
but that's
just said a jalapeno is 500 on the Scoville scale.
Oh, it all
and
depends.
even that's hot for a lot of
Well, you got to
people.
talk about amounts, though. We're talking about a drop within tomato sauce and water and vinegar. It really can be tamed down, and it's very applicable, used on lots of items.
Right.
Food items.
That's
all right,
true.
all right, all right.
That's true.
I think we beat that monkey to death. In that.
I
All
sure hope we did.
Oh, what we're seeing here, I can see how they both have some great generous giving and some wrongdoing. Honestly, I am the wrongdoing with the monkey brain I didn't really see.
Oh, you're killing an animal with mallets.
True, but how is the monkey brain itself wrongdoing? Right? It's the quality of the substance that we're speaking about.
We're going deep.
You know, and so for that reason, and for the plasticity being the big, somewhat factor, although I did like your last argument. Oh,
He's ready to rule.
Quarter over here. Go. You go brain strain.
Oh,
Brain
man.
strain.
That's fair. That's fair.
Well argued.
That's fair. Well argued.
Whew.
I can see that one going either way.
That was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough.
All right. We're in the final round here.
I can
Wow.
run
Final
that.
round. Brain waves, brain strain. Again, we're looking at plasticity,
Brain waves.
malfeasance. Brain waves will be with 1. There we go. Brain strain. Halverson. Okay, for this final round, let's do a short synopsis of why we think ours is, because we pretty much ran with that. But then I really want us to argue the point of why you think the others is not meeting the criteria.
You're gonna get us to fight. Is
Okay,
what you're
so-
gonna do. You're gonna get
You're
us to
gonna
fight.
You know, tell me why brain waves are not plasticity, beneficence, malfeasance. Tell me why brain strain is not those 3. It's a little bit of like, okay, this is what we got, and then boom, I want you to dig deep into one. Pow.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to do this.
Okay.
Who does go first on this one?
Who went first and last?
Do we paper, rock, scissors?
You do paper, rock, scissors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
1,
do
2, 3,
that.
shoot?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
What do you choose?
I'll go
back
second.
or forth?
I'll go second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Playing it like the...
Okay. I just want to make sure I understand the rules. Am I going to give the synopsis and then I'm going to tell you why
Correct.
it's not? Okay. So again,
this is going to be our only argument.
okay,
Yeah,
then we leave
right?
it
got
there.
And then that's
Got
it.
it.
Okay,
Got it.
got it. So brain strain, the pepper, is malfeasance. We talked about how this can be used in a pepper spray. It can be dangerous. If it's used in its concentrated form, it can get in the eyes, membranes, and it can be destructive. It can be very beneficent to many culinary items, and it can make life better. And when we talk about plasticity, we talk about the many uses of it. We already talked about that. We talked about culinary uses. We talked about defense. We talked about, those are the 2 main items where it's really big. And then if we want to talk about how brainwaves do not fit those criteria, we can look at plasticity and we can say, okay, brainwaves in themselves. Let's start here at beneficence and malfeasance. Let's start there. They are not in themselves beneficent or malfeasant. They are tools. They are just occurrences from the brain. They're tools to be used. It's like a gun. People like to say guns are bad, guns are evil. No. There's bad people and there's good people. Guns are just a tool. So I would say brainwaves are the exact same. They're neither good nor evil. They're neutral. So that negates both of those arguments as far as beneficence and malfeasance. People can have reasons, evil reasons or good reasons to use brainwaves and do things to brainwaves and manipulate brainwaves, but then they in themselves are not. But plasticity, absolutely, you can manipulate them. So that argument, it checks that box. The other 2 doesn't even come close. They are neutral tools. And that's what I rest my case on.
Interesting. So once again, Jordan covered the plasticity pretty well for me, I would say. So I'm not going to go ahead and focus too much of my time on that. The plasticity being is that it's applicable to many different situations, the 5 different brain functions as well too. So we're not going to hit on those too much because you're a smart man and you don't want me to be repetitive. So when it comes to the detrimental facts of it is that it can be used in manipulative ways to be able to put people in situations to where they would not act unto themselves.
So can go.
So for example, if I was incredibly stressed out or if I was incredibly depressed, I would act in a way that wasn't my normal character. But by weaponizing brainwaves in a way to be able to cause someone to put them in a different state of mind, they can effectively become someone else and act in a way that isn't representative of who they are as a character. So number 1, they could do something that would cause harm to somebody. But number 2, you could cause somebody to defamate their own character in a way that
Defecate. Are you all right?
to defamate.
Oh, sorry.
To defamate their character in a way to where it affects them for the rest of their life by causing them to do an action that would affect them for the rest of their life.
Okay. All right.
And the positive ways, being able to take advantage of brainwaves, go onto YouTube right now and type in study brainwaves, and you're going to be able to have gamma brainwaves that pop up, theta brainwaves that pop up, where you can listen in full surround on your headphones, enabling you to be able to focus better, but also heightening your sense of mood as well. And to Jordan's point against mine for the brainwaves just being a neutral factor, listen, who am I to say the pepper shouldn't have been created for the reason it's being used? A pepper is just simply a vegetable that's just doing its own pepper things, chilling in the ground, and then humans come around.
Now?
Yeah,
It's a fruit.
and then a fruit. Sorry, see that's how little it matters. And
Know your subject.
That's your second warning, right?
I'm sorry.
One more, you'll be kicked out of the studio.
The pepper is simply doing exactly what it was meant to do. It's the humans who are using it for good and bad. It's not the pepper. The pepper is doing simply what it was created to do. Brainwaves are the very aspect of human thought process and transportation between neurons themselves. You can't get more human than the human brain in and of itself.
I know you want to, don't you?
No,
You want to.
No, I was just thinking about something I thought about earlier. It's funny.
You want 5 more seconds?
Take it.
I'll throw 5 of each.
5 you seconds?
That's
That's
got
fair.
one
That's
last
fair.
sentence for it.
You can get your rebuttal.
What do you think his weakest point is? So you said that plasticity. You like that? Okay. All right. 5 seconds. Go ahead. One last.
Absolutely. And I'll just say this. He said that the pepper's just doing what it's created to do, and I think that's the exact point, is God created a pepper to be
5
used as a fruit.
seconds. Go ahead. Nice. I like fruit. Okay. Not plant.
My point wasn't that the pepper itself was bad. My point is that the pepper is neutral in and of itself. It's the humans who are creating it for good and bad. Mine is good and bad because it's part of the human emotion and thought process in and of itself.
This is tricky. I see it both. The brain waves. Yeah. Right. They're just waves. What fluctuates those? We're talking about third-party issues here. This is getting super deep. Third-party stuff we got going on here. Brain waves. Gamma. Alpha. Zeta. Fraternity stuff.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. Michael Douglas.
Exactly. You know,
She
I mean,
was
that
a
was a very
criminal.
important.
Yes. She was.
Which is another bad thing to talk about when it comes to brains.
And I mean, they had, you know, they both coupled together. I'm sure they had many great movies. And,
Perhaps.
I might have to give this one down. I don't know.
No, Catherine's in a Accept the reward.
Shaped or molded. They probably had some work done. So they both been
Are we
shaped or molded.
completely moving on to a different subject?
Brain strain
Excuse me.
I'm sweating.
and brain waves. Yeah, man. So I can see the third party on both. Like it requires another hands to shape and mold the pepper. Brain waves. It's requiring different things to be able to utilize those in some way. But are they generous in giving? Absolutely. Can they be wrongdoing? Yes. So that requires like a whole other thing. It is a tricky deal right here. But I think as far as them just being in their own substance nature, and the fact that how easily can it be shaped or molded, I'm definitely going to have to go with brainwaves. Brain waves for the fact that
Congratulations.
It was a well fought battle.
Wow,
It was
that
a
was
well
tough.
fought battle.
That was tough.
Jeez.
I had
Just
no
through
idea
all
where
the
it
ways-
was going.
all
You had
the
great
ways,
information. I learned a lot.
yeah, that you mentioned that they can be articulated and manipulated.
And I'm
as
ticked
far as the plastics.
that you did such good
So,
research.
That's your theta.
Thank you, Catherine Zeta, Michael Douglas.
That's the
Appreciate
real
it.
hero
All
here.
of our fans, like, subscribe,
Ring the
rate,
bell.
do whatever you do on all that social media stuff. We appreciate it. We like you. We are grateful.
I don't love you, though.
We love you.
Okay,
We love all.
Okay.
We love.
We love you.
Yeah. It's actually, yeah, we
Oh,
love you.
God's
I like you.
creatures, great and small.
Yes.
Thank you.
So again, thanks for watching. Stay curious.
And weird.
And a little trivial. We're gonna get couples counseling after this.
We're out.
I still love you.
I still love you too.